What's up, everybody? Sega Man back here with another video. And this video is by request, actually. There's a lot of people out there that I work with. They've actually found my channel and they like the stuff that I do. You know, they say I'm a little, a little crazy, sometimes with my podcast, which is the Xbox Alpha podcast with all my brothers. But they want to know more about the collecting side of me. You know what I mean? They went back in some of my old videos, but they asked me by my original name, what are your most expensive games that you own in your collection? As long as you've been collecting for Sega Man, what are some of the most expensive games that you have? And I will tell you this: collecting, excuse me, guys, it's not easy. It really isn't. At the time when I was collecting, I think it was an era where, the newer systems were coming out, or they were systems that failed, and they wanted to just sell all their product off that they had. And I also found things at flea markets, Goodwills, and things like that, And I'm going to show you today some of my most expensive games from the Sega Dreamcast and the Sega Saturn. The Sega Saturn is the most, in my opinion, one of the most expensive systems to collect for in history, as being a video game collector and connoisseur as myself. And I think a lot of my brothers out there would like to hear and see some of my most expensive video games, like my brother Sega Forever, Others Inc. Excuse me, guys. And he bought pretty much those also. And even, my up-and-coming brother, Unlimited Productions, E-Rock, he kind of knows of what I have. And, a lot of my Alpha brothers that join us on the podcast, probably want to know a little bit more background about me and what I collect and what I like to collect for when it comes to video games. And as you know, I am the Sega man, so I mostly collected for Sega Genesis and the Master System, the Game Gear, Dreamcast, mostly everything that had to pertain to Sega. Because as growing up, my very first console that I ever owned was my mother's boyfriend's console that he gave to me, which was called a ColecoVision. And the ColecoVision had the ColecoVision he had. He gave me a lot of games that he had, and a little thing that clamped on to the front of it called an expansion module. If you guys don't know what the expansion module is, actually the ColecoVision, I think, was one of the first back compat systems. Well, not back compat, but it could play other brands of games like Atari. I don't want to really say back compat. That wouldn't be back compat, but it played other companies' games. It played Atari games in it, which was really cool back then. So, I mean, that was just really awesome. Where you think about it, you didn't have to buy an Atari. You can play certain Atari games and things in the expansion module, which was really awesome. That was an awesome thing back then. And I still own that today. I still actually own that piece of peripheral today. That piece of gaming history is in this house, along with the ColecoVision. So, that being said, my friends, that I work with and people I talk to said, man, do a video on some of your most expensive games. So this is going to be part one, of some of my most expensive games that I collect for. I will be doing videos on the Genesis, on the Master System, and the Turbo, all the systems I have. This is not going to be an everyday thing, like maybe once a week, until I'm done with, on how I feel about me showing you the games in my collection that are really worth of value today, and how to take care of them and preserve them. So we're starting off today with, like I said, the Dreamcast and the Sega Saturn. Okay? So, one of my most expensive games I have for the Dreamcast. It actually went up in price. You know, if you go to Lukey Games, you can buy these games, but when you go to click on where it says buy, most of the time they're not complete. You can just buy the disc for $70. If you push complete, believe it or not, it can go over $100 and something. So a lot of games, like old school games, usually they'll sell just the disc for, let's say, $50, right? But if you want it complete, it can go up to $85 or $100, depending on the game and the condition, is what I'm thinking. So, but one of the first that actually went up in value, it is a Capcom game called Street Fighter Double Impact. So this has went up in price. This is over $100. This is in great condition, very good condition. As you can see, I like to keep my stuff in very good condition. Original case, never been cracked or replaced, and everything is originally intact in it. You know, a lot of these games that I've played once or twice back in the day, or beaten them and just put them away. Perfect, flawless disc in condition. A little bit of artwork in the back of the shell, as you can see. You know, Ryu and Ken. Let's get that glare out of the way, where you can see Ryu and Ken in it. And you know, the instruction booklet. A lot of games today don't have that anymore. You just get the case and that's it. Or downloadable content or something like that you might get in it if you're lucky, you know. So Street Fighter Double Impact is definitely worth collecting for. I'm pretty sure you can probably find it other places, maybe a little cheaper. But as the years go along, especially a lot of Sega Saturn games and stuff like that, they just keep shooting up. They're not coming down. You know what I mean? You might be able to find some Dreamcast games for a fairly decent price, but a lot of their games too are going up. I mean, if you go to Lukey Games, you can see there's some that are very affordable, and there's some that are astronomical in prices. You know. But you can try certain sites like that, even if you go on Amazon, where a lot of people shop, you know what I mean, or even eBay. Some of these games are very expensive right now, you know what I mean. Some people on eBay ask astronomical prices for some of these games. I've seen it. I've seen games on there that I have in my collection. They want it like, I don't know, $800-900 for, and then you go somewhere else and it's only, you know, some people want it for like $250. So it all depends on where you shop at and how you do your research when you're becoming a collector of old school games and retro gaming. So the next one here, I actually found this at Steel City Con I went with. They actually had a box of these sealed. Now the mistake I made is I didn't buy a sealed copy and have a copy for myself to open, which I should have done, and I didn't. Same for Street Fighter Double Impact. This guy had 10 sealed Street Fighter Double Impacts, about 15 or 20 of this game I'm going to show you now, and they were only for me or whoever. He had a little, you know, notepad sticky on there. The Street Fighter Double Impact was $5. The Ring game was back then was $10. So this is called The Ring: Terrors of Realm. This game has actually shot up in price. This is over $100. This is another one that's a pretty expensive game in my Dreamcast collection. Pretty cool. Very weird game that will kind of remind you of a Resident Evil. You know, very nice, you know, disc. You know what I mean? It advertises Alone in the Dark right there. You know what I mean? But this is a really very bizarre, like weird horror game, and I like that. I've always liked the games like that. But this game right now is over $100. Now you might be able to find it somewhere cheaper, but I doubt if you're going to find it cheaper with the case and it can be incomplete. You might be able to find the disc cheaper, but if you want to collect, guys out there, you know, and you want the case and everything, it's going to cost you. I mean, it just is. You know what I mean? For some of these games, this is well over $100-something. So this is another game I have in my Dreamcast collection that is up there in value. Now this next game I'm going to show you here, I got actually at I don't think it was called GameStop then. Let's just go with GameStop. Air Electronic at Babbage's or one of those. I can't remember, but this is when the Dreamcast died out. They were selling off all the games that they had left. This particular game was in there, and it looked very interested in me because I was really big into fighting games back then. I'm mostly a shoot 'em up now, a shmup junkie, you know. Hebot is the fighting junkie, you know what I mean? He loves fighting games. This one here, back then when they were having this closeout sale, cost me, I believe, I can't remember, maybe around $20. And now this game goes well over $200 on some sites, and that is by Capcom, Project Justice. This game is very expensive piece of gaming history right here. A very, very, very awesome game that should be brought back for like the Xbox Series S and X, and you know, I would love to see this back out here so we can play. You know, that would be awesome. You know, or on game consoles, whatever you play on. I'd like to see it on my preferred console, which is the Xbox. But if you rock out a PlayStation or whatever, fine. But I would like this to come back. Project Justice is a very expensive Capcom fighting game. Rival Schools was on the PlayStation 1. That game is also up there in price. I actually have Rival Schools. I have the first disc. Now, I think there was 2 discs. I found the first disc at a flea market for 50 cents a long time ago. It was just in a regular jewel case. The guy said, just give me 50 cents for it. You know, so I all right. And it's pretty good. But this is like, I guess, part 2 of that. And it's one of my gems in the Dreamcast collection. It's very expensive. It's over $200 right now. I always keep my games in pristine condition. And, you know, everything in its entirety, you know, in the original case, everything. So that is Project Justice, guys. This is one of my one of my valuable gems right now for collecting for the Sega Dreamcast. Now, I got to get ready for work soon, so I can't let this go too long. We're going to have to go a little faster here. So the next game is, actually you can get this backwards compatibility. It is the Sega Dreamcast SNK Fatal Fury Mark of the Wolf. It's another sought after game for the fighting guys, the guys that like fighting games. This is over $100 also. So it's another expensive game in the Dreamcast collection. This was another one that I got when I got Project Justice. And I believe it was about $15. It was around $15, I believe. And it advertises other games on there too. You see the disc is in black and white, but everything is original in its entirety and is in pristine condition. So this is another good game. A good fighting game, very well good fighting game that you could play on your Xbox today and things like that. And that's over $100, guys. So the next one here is my last Dreamcast game I want to show. I will do more later. But one of my most expensive, actually I was surprised to see the price on. I think it was going for about $180. And it actually has the old sticker on there. And I did get this from Electronics Boutique, and it was not expensive. I can't remember the price, guys. It was a while ago, so I really can't remember the price. But this is called D2, and it has a little bit of wear on the shelling, but it has the original Electronics Boutique sticker on it. So that is D2. And as you see, there's the Electronics Boutique sticker. This game is over $100 right now. This is over $100. So it's kind of like, let's say, like a Silent Hill type horror game. This came with, let me count it. This came with 4 discs. All my discs are in pristine condition. There's 1 and 2, 3, and 4. I haven't beaten this game, but that's how it came with, a 4-disc game. And this here is well over $100. Each disc in there is in fantastic condition. No scratches, no nothing, no marks, no anything. But this game is well over $100. If you guys have played D2, you guys know it was a really bizarre, just a really bizarre horror game. And I like games like that. So D2 is another one of my gems that I have in the Dreamcast collection. Now, the next one we have, what we're going to go through here, we're done with those. I'm going to show you some very expensive Sega Saturn games. The Saturn is very expensive, guys. I think it's more expensive than the Dreamcast games, to be honest with you. So the first one we're going to show you, I had to actually make, because I did a trade with my friend. I traded him something for this, and he gave me the disc, but I had to make a case for it because I didn't have no case. He didn't have no case. I think it was something that he wanted that wasn't Nintendo, because he's a diehard Nintendo fan, Game Boy, but he had the disc of this game, and I wanted this game so bad. So we did a great trade, and that is Marvel Super Heroes. This game is over, I think, almost or around $200 complete. Now, this is not its original case, because its original case is not the Sega Saturn case that I have. I had to make a cover for it right here, and the disc alone can go for like $80, $90 just for the disc. Check Lukey Games if it's even in stock. So I made a case for it and put it in a DVD case. So that is Marvel Superheroes. Didn't have no book or nothing like that, but I do have the game itself. This is a very expensive game right now on the Sega Saturn. So I'm just glad to own that, which is really awesome. Really awesome. So I had to make a case for it off his site. It looks like what you would see on the Sega Saturn shell case. But it's made for a DVD case. So that is Marvel Superheroes, guys. Now this one here is Arcade Perfect. Another expensive Sega Saturn game that has went up in price. I just seen it recently on Lukey Games. It's well over $100. And that is X-Men Children of the Atom. It's another great game that came out for the Sega Saturn. I got it a long time ago. I really can't tell you guys when and where, because it was so long ago. You know what I mean? It might have been Electronics Boutique. I can't really remember, back then. But it also came with the original sponge in it. That's how they used to package the games. And then there's the game right there, and, the booklet and everything. So this is actually worth a lot of money right now. This is worth a lot of money right now. Actually, no. I got this from the video game exchange. Yeah, because they've been around a long time. So I got it from them, and I didn't pay a lot of money for it at all. Maybe, I can't remember, guys. I don't want to really give you a price, but it wasn't expensive. It really wasn't expensive. But this was an arcade hit, and it was a hit at home for the Sega Saturn. The Sega Saturn had the best 2D fighting games ever back then. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not trying to be mean when I say this, but the 2D fighting games were the best. The PlayStation was second in line. The Sega Saturn had the best 2D fighting games when it came to Capcom and things like that. The PlayStation 1, I'm sorry, guys, with sound quality and graphics, it did not touch the Sega Saturn. That's just the truth. That's not me being biased. I have certain fighting games on the PlayStation 1 and on the Sega Saturn, and the Sega Saturn beats it hands down. It was the best 2D fighting system back then, hands down, on the Sega Saturn. So that is X-Men Children of the Atom, guys. That's another one. Now this other one here is, man, this is another one that's over the $100 range. Some people didn't even know this game was on Sega Saturn. Some people. But this is actually Contra, and I didn't know until I seen it. I didn't know until I seen it. My friends that owned it, Pinhills, the Pinhills Exchange is what they called it, the Pinhills Video Game Exchange. They had this, and I became really good friends with them. I've helped them at events they had, helped them with their store, getting it ready. They're no longer there, anymore. I kind of miss the guys, but they would hook me up. If I wanted stuff from Japan, I got a deal that will make your mouth drop to the ground with certain games. And they actually hooked me up with this too. They hooked me up with this too. I did not pay much for this at all. Honestly, I think it was $20. This is over $100 something right now, which is Contra. The Contra game on the Saturn. Legacy of War. I never thought a Contra game would ever come out on there, to be honest with you. But it's a really good game. I have played it and it's pretty decent. I really like it. So that is Contra, guys, and very good condition, as you can see. Like I said, the casing's very, very. These are the things that did end the Sega Saturn, where it latched onto. You know what I mean? I don't know why they made their cases like this, because they broke very easily. But and it also has the sponge in it too in the game, and everything in good condition. But they made a lot of their games like this, and think later then they went to cardboard. So it's good to not drop. If you drop these, it's done. If you drop this, these tabs are gonna break, and you're gonna be mad. And I think you can get replacements for these now on Amazon. I don't know how much they are. You know what I mean? But it might cost you. Because it's for the Sega Saturn, and even for the PlayStation. Some of the PlayStation 1 games came in those shells. So now the next one I got here, actually I got to show you guys this one last, because that's the most expensive. This is another one that went up in price. It is actually an arcade port of Ultimate Mortal Kombat, the Ultimate Fighting game by Williams and Midway. This was a fantastic game on the Sega Saturn. My favorite 2D fighting game of all time will always be Mortal Kombat. Everybody loves Street Fighter. That's fine. I don't take nothing away. I like Street Fighter too. But my favorite 2D fighting game of all time is Mortal Kombat. So, this is the Ultimate Mortal Kombat. This went up in price. This is over $100. I think it's $130 right now. Or near that, $120. But it's well over the $100 mark. This is an arcade perfect port too. It really is. The opening of it, when you put it in and everything, it's just like when you played it in the arcade, which is really awesome. This is another game I got for a really good price. This doesn't have the sponge in it or anything, but I like the color. My favorite color is purple. I like the color of the disc, and that's the artwork on the back right there. So it's in very good condition, and that is Mortal Kombat Ultimate, man. It's a really, really, really good game, and graphically, they did a fantastic job with it for the Sega Saturn, man. Next one here, nobody probably never heard of it's called US Gold. It's an older company. I don't remember if they were out of Britain or a British company, but I picked this one up. It was called, I can't even say it, Bazooka. I think it's Bazooka Stone, if I'm saying it right. Oh, Johnny Bazooka Stone or something like that. I can't pronounce it right. But this game is actually shot up in price also. It's well over $100. It's a very weird game, very weird music in it, but it's a really decent game. I like games like that, And this is the cover here. So this is another one that's actually went up in price for the Sega Saturn. Very, very good game to start with when you start out on the game. I didn't get too far in the game, but it's a really cool concept art style form that it says save the soul of rock and roll. But it's really cool. It's a really cool and different type of game for the Sega Saturn. So that's another one that's a jewel, in the Sega Saturn collection. Now, this one here, a lot of people talk about It's a really good platformer, 2D side-scrolling platformer, or is it 3D? I think it's 2D. I've played some of this game. I didn't play a lot of it. I've never beaten it yet. But this game is also very expensive right now. And this game is called Astal. This is another game that's very expensive right now in price. You know, and it's a fantastic game. You know, I've tried it. It's really good. It has the sponge in it, the booklet as well, the game, Astal. So that's another awesome game. It would be nice to see this come out on the Xbox. But that is Astal for the Sega Saturn. Another great game. And this is definitely a gem in the Sega Saturn collection. It really is. This game is very expensive, guys. I'm glad to own this, and I did not pay much for this at all. I think it was about $10. This was a long time ago, guys. When people said that the Saturn sucked and everybody was, you know, on the PlayStation and stuff like that, man, a lot of those games went way down in price. And now they're astronomical prices today. You know? So what does that tell you? That's a good time to become a collector, especially being a Sega fan like I am for years. You know? So the last one is very expensive. This is over $200. Very good condition. I've seen it for $300. I've seen this game for $300. Very good condition. Very sought after. And it is the best fighting game, 2D fighting game, in my opinion, on the Sega Saturn. And that is, and it's hard to get, not hard but expensive, Mortal Kombat Trilogy. Mortal Kombat Trilogy is very expensive right now. I even have Mortal Kombat Trilogy on the PlayStation 1. Now, it's a little roughed up, the casing and everything, but I have it. It's not even near as much as the one for the Sega Saturn. This is the best 2D fighting game on Earth. Sound, graphics, you can be all the characters from all the games. This is an awesome collaboration, which is Mortal Kombat Trilogy. This is probably one of my most expensive gems in the Sega Saturn collection, guys. And I'm going to end the video with that, with Mortal Kombat Trilogy, guys. I've played this game over and over and over and over again. It is complete with its box and the booklet and everything. Mortal Kombat Trilogy is very expensive right now, guys. Very expensive. So, but I wanted to let you guys see some of my games that are very expensive right now, and went up in price. Mortal Kombat Trilogy, one of my gems. All right, guys. Thank you for subscribing and watching my channel. I will be back soon with another, podcast with my brother, Tuckmaster, and everybody. I hope everybody's had a happy holiday, man. I got to get ready for work. You know what I mean? I got to get my grind on. You know what I mean? But this is just one out of a few more videos that I'm going to do about my most expensive gems that I have in my entire collection. And it's going to be probably once a week. Once a week I will do one of these videos. Once a week. In the week I will do another one next week. Sometime. It could be Friday, Thursday, whatever. But it's going to be like probably near the middle of the week or something like that. I'm going to do another one. Because somebody, at work, I don't like to say my friends' names or anything, or people I work with, but he was very interested in what I have and said he would like to see some of the stuff that I do and what I collect for. So I'm going to keep doing that. So, all right, guys, thanks a lot. And thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. I got to go to work, guys. Be safe, guys. Have a good week, all right? Peace, guys, and I'll see you soon.